Today on Bridges, we're going to talk about loss and how to get beyond, I don't know what to say. Welcome to Bridges. I'm Monica Schmelter. I'm so glad that you could join us. Today we're going to talk about loss and how we can get beyond, I don't know what to say. And my guest is Sherry Fletcher, and she has a lot to say on the subject. Sherry, so good to have you on Bridges today.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
You know, loss is a hard thing for all of us. And in your family, you endured a really sudden and great loss.
Yes, thank you for having me and giving me a place to talk about Annie, because you know how it is when you lose someone, you love to talk about them. And so, yes, we lost our daughter, Annie, in August of 2023.
So this is really new.
It's new. Today, actually, is 22 months.
Wow.
Yep. So Annie was 29 when she passed away of colorectal cancer, and we actually didn't even have the diagnosis until after she passed away because it was so sudden. And so it's actually something that's happening more and more in young people, and so bringing awareness to it is very important to me, because colorectal cancer is not something we think about in 20-year-olds.
No. I mean, I'm sure that they didn't even think to look for that when she got sick.
No, in fact, what took her to the hospital was coughing, and her oxygen levels were dropping really low. And so they actually admitted her for low oxygen. On August 11, she was coughing, and she called me and said, "Mom, I'm actually coughing up some blood." So we met at Vanderbilt, and they admitted her because her oxygen levels were so low. They were low enough that they couldn't even do tests for, bronchitis or any of that. And so after about 3 or 4 days of it continuing to drop, they actually put her in the ICU, and they put her in the pulmonary unit thinking it was pulmonary hypertension. Did several tests for pulmonary hypertension that weren't working. And after a week and a half of those tests not working, they said they would have to do a lung transplant. And so they said, we'll do a full body scan to make sure everything's ready for the lung transplant. And that is when they found a tumor on her ovaries. And that was on August 22. And they said, we're going to have to do a biopsy to make sure that that's what that is before we can proceed with a lung transplant. They did a biopsy, and she actually ended up passing away on the morning of the 24th. And so from that biopsy, they learned that it was actually colorectal cancer that had metastasized to her ovary, got into her bloodstream, and had filled her lungs. So it wasn't a pulmonary issue, it was cancer.
It was that cancer, and that's what was affecting her oxygen levels. But of course, there was no way to know that.
There was no way to know that.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about getting beyond I don't know what to say, but share a couple of great memories with us that you have with your daughter, Annie.
Yeah, Annie was a firstborn type A. If you do Enneagrams, she was a 7. At the age of 12, she let us all know she was going to live in Nashville. She was a singer-songwriter. She would write songs. I remember one of the first songs she wrote about was being in timeout and how unfair that was. So she would go up to her room.
I love that.
Yeah, she would go up to her room and sing about how unfair it was. She also wrote a song about freckles because her brother had some and she didn't, and she wanted freckles. That was another one of her songs. Those are all recorded because I would stand at the base of the stairs and record those songs. They're great. But she got her master's in social work, so she was, that was her heart. She was very compassionate for people, and she was also known as a connector. She did end up moving to Nashville. She got her social work and started working in a nursing home in Nashville, but also pursuing her music that way. As I'm learning, everyone knew Annie. She just inserted herself, had no problem showing up and just talking to people. She did not know a stranger. And so she just would show up at writing rounds, and just, that was awesome. In fact, several of her friends and I got together at the end of May, and they sang a song, produced a song that she wrote that's going to be coming out in July. So I'm very excited that that'll be
What
coming.
a wonderful way,
Yes.
right, to honor her
Yes.
and to pay tribute that her work lives on.
Yes, that's what's wonderful about her music. So she was a little gritty, spunky little thing, loved dancing and just have lots of fun videos of that. And so, yeah, she was great. She was her brother's biggest cheerleaders, loved their wives. My middle son got married 3 months after she passed away. We continued with the wedding plans because she would have wanted that. And my middle son, Charlie, his bride, was just amazing. And she ended up using one of Annie's songs to walk down the aisle. So it was that Annie was singing. So yeah, it was wonderful.
That's very touching and very nice way to honor, because it is, you know, it is such a hard loss.
It's the worst.
And I'm thinking that because it was suddenly and she's so young, right, that a lot of people didn't know what to say.
Right. That's a common thing. When people come up to someone that's grieving, they'll say, "I'm sorry, I don't know what to say."
So help us, like, what are more helpful things to say? What can we do?
Yeah, people do know what to say. I think that's just kind of a common thing because our pain is very scary. Grief in itself is scary. Our society does not know what to do with grief. It's kind of an unknown territory, even though it's so common. We all have grief, as you know.
You know, and the church doesn't know how to deal with grief. It's society, but the church, right?
Yes.
You just pray and it'll all go away, and like that's absolutely not how it works.
No, I just am finding out off topic that seminary doesn't teach about grief in seminary. And so, yet the Bible is full of grief and suffering. That
Yes,
is
it
what
is.
this world is. And so we want things to be okay. We want things to be happy. Of course we do. In fact, we always tell our children, we just want you to be happy. And so we kind of just want to brush that over and get over to the happy side. And loss is scary. And the thought of losing a child is terrifying. And so when you get around someone that has lost a child, it puts that reality, gives that reality a face. And so I am aware that when I am in someone's presence, I'm scary. How do you approach me?
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of times people will just come up and say something that maybe is random, or they'll just say, "I don't know what to say," or "I can't imagine." And usually when someone says, "I can't imagine your pain," it's because they are imagining your pain and they don't want to imagine
Yes.
your pain, and I don't want them to have to. But it's actually very simple. I'm sorry is the easiest.
Without any taglines.
Without any taglines.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You know, because what else could
There's
we say?
nothing.
There's nothing in the world that I or
Right.
anybody else could say
Right.
that will rid you of the grief
Right.
over Annie,
And
right?
I think when someone says, "I don't know what to say," what they're saying is, "I just wish there was something I could do to eliminate this pain."
Yes.
But actually, there's a lot people can do to alleviate.
Well, let's talk about that, because I do think that most people are very well intended,
Yes, absolutely.
just not sure,
Absolutely.
you know, what's okay, what's not okay.
Yes, I think as the griever, we have to realize how uncomfortable that person is and realize they're really not intending to say something stupid. I mean,
They just are.
yeah, for the most part, they really aren't. And so asking questions for me personally has been the best. When people that haven't known Annie have said, "Hey," I had a friend that called and said, "Hey, I just took my son out to get his permit and that was terrifying. What was it like to drive with Annie?" And that opened up an opportunity to not only remember, but to share some of the most terrifying events when Annie was driving. And it was funny. And it takes me back to that time, and it's a gift. It's a gift that this friend wanted to know, but it also means that they actually care about my heart and they're listening. They want to know.
Well, they don't have to make Annie like non-existent,
Right.
like pretending that she never was, because she was, and
Right.
you have memories, and that it is helpful to be able to recall her and all of the funny moments and,
Yes.
and all of the things that as a mom, that still brings joy to your
Absolutely.
heart.
And I'm already in pain, so a lot of times people think, "Oh, I don't want to say something because I don't want to hurt her. I'm hurting 24/7. And so, like I said, there's a lot that you can do to alleviate. And so sometimes if you share a story, I love it. I had one of Annie's closest friends. Yesterday was National Pink Day. And she's texting me, she said, I wear pink now because Annie told me I look good in it. And she sent me a picture of a shirt that Annie gave her that was pink. That's awesome. Share a story.
Yeah. And because it does bring healing, and it shows you, right, how much people care, and to just recognize, as you said, that you're hurting 24/7.
Yes.
There's not going to be a day that you wake up and
No.
right.
Never.
Yeah.
All the time.
What's it been like for you to process your grief?
It's always, I call people, or I tell people, it's like emotional ambushes. They're waves constantly hitting. Some days they're gentle, ebb and flow. Some days it's a crash. And to allow myself just to, if you resist a wave, that's when you are in danger,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the best thing to do when a wave hits is to stop and let either, if you Google it, there's all different ways to outlive getting hit by a wave. And so understanding those emotional times, and if you're somewhere and you just start crying, grocery stores have been the worst. Sometimes I'll just leave my cart and go outside and just let myself cry, or abandon ship, or I'll have groceries delivered, and just being able to accept what's happening and let it happen.
Right. And I think that is probably the most productive thing.
Yeah.
It's not to hide the tears and not to not do it, and to give yourself grace that if you need to leave the grocery store, that's just fine. It's whatever's working for you in that moment.
Right. And it's different, understanding that where I'm at today is not where my husband's at, is not where my son is at, and not to correct if I'm in a good place today and my husband's in a bad place, let him be in a bad place, and just listen, and don't say, oh, you shouldn't think that. A lot of times he might be in a what if, and I'm not in a what if. Let him be in a what if.
Yeah. So accept your other family members and friends where they are.
Right.
Because they need to ask what if, right?
Yeah.
They need to process what they're going through. But you're saying like it all happens on different days. It's not together.
Right. Which can be very tricky. Yeah.
Did you go to counseling to help you?
Yes, we are still in counseling, lots of reading books. I couldn't read. I still haven't finished a whole book, and I was an avid reader. My husband went the opposite, avid reader for him right now, where I'm kind of in pieces in this book and this book. So yeah, but still in counseling.
That's a very good thing. We've got to take a break. I want you to stay with us here today on Bridges. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how to move beyond I don't know what to say.
Don't give in. God's word says you're an overcomer. It takes training. It takes discipline. And so when you're fighting that good fight of the faith, you take your story, whatever it is, and you saturate it in faith, and you fight for it.
Visit monicaschmelter.com to schedule Monica to speak at your next event.
If you enjoy watching Bridges, you can join Monica on Facebook for all the extras. Just visit Facebook and search for Monica Schmelter TV. At Monica Schmelter TV, you'll get a look behind the scenes. You'll learn secrets from the studio, and you'll be among the first to know what's coming up next on Bridges. Best of all, you can connect with Monica for prayer and share what topics you'd most like to see on Bridges. Monica would love to connect with you.
If you're just joining us today on Bridges, my guest is Sherry Fletcher, and we're talking about loss and how we can move beyond those words, I don't know what to say. And, Sherry, you've been so open and so kind to share Annie and Annie's story and the grief that you're in as a mom, and to just help us understand more meaningful ways to be able to express I'm sorry, and not to just go with I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
What about the times when people say, if there's anything I can do?
That is putting all the responsibility on me. And I don't have the capacity to even know what I need. And so that's one thing that I've noticed. There's been a lot of friends that I thought would be there that haven't been. And again, this is not anywhere to shame. I've told people, for me, it's like, grief has been this wall. And it's a very intimidating wall. And there's some people that they just can't come up to it. And then there's people that will look in the window and just kind of check on you and then leave. There's people that'll drop something on the door and leave. And then there's people that just knock on the door, walk right in and sit with you. And it's going to shock, if someone, that's in the early stages of grief, it's going to shock you who those people are that actually just come right through the door. And then the people that never approach. I've had very close friends, and my husband has had very close friends that have still not even called. And it's shocking, but you have to understand maybe that they just can't approach that topic.
It's too hard for them. They don't want to see that reality that someone could lose a child. And I mean, at 29 years old and, colorectal cancer, I mean, that's just mostly just unheard of. And
I think people sometimes will say, well, when Sherry's ready, she'll call me, and I probably won't. And it's not because I'm holding a grudge. It's because if I sat down and started thinking of all the people that hadn't called me, I'd be on the phone all day, and I don't have the energy. And there is a legitimate neurological symptom called grief brain fog. And by about 3 o'clock every day, I'm done. My brain is done. There's tension in your brain where you're living your daughter's life over and over in your mind. You're dealing with the emotional waves. You're dealing with stuff that you have to do every day, still paying bills, still going. And to think about who hasn't called you, it doesn't come in.
Well, and then to think to call them, like, what in the world would you say anyway?
I don't have the energy.
I mean, if they don't know how to call you, how in the world would you know in all of your grief how to call them?
You don't. So if you know someone that is having a loss, and in your mind you're thinking when they're ready they'll call me, they probably won't call you. And so if you're thinking, well, you let me know what you need, they're not going to do that either. And
because they don't know what they need.
They don't know what they need. They don't even know what to do right now, let alone tomorrow. And so people that just did stuff, it was so amazing. I had a friend in a different state that would just Venmo me, and she'd say, get your house cleaned an extra week. Get your groceries delivered. Get your clothes dry cleaned. I just thought that's amazing. Because literally going to the grocery store is one of the hardest things. And I don't know why, but it's just terrible.
So that's triggering to you.
It's triggering. And I've read in different places it's triggering for other people of loss.
Well, I can understand
getting
that.
it delivered was amazing.
And for people just to do it. I remember, my brother recently passed, and my sister's life group gave them, I don't know if it was a gift card or money, and they brought dinner over for everybody. We would never say, what do you need? Oh, we would like dinner delivered. Like, we would never say that. And when I talk to my mom and my dad now, they say, they say that the funeral, like, it's all a blur.
It's a blur.
They don't even remember.
I don't remember leaving the hospital after my daughter passed. I don't remember. I don't remember leaving the hospital. We had to do 2 services, one here in Nashville and then in our state of Washington where we lived before we moved here. I don't remember. I will tell you the second year so far of grief has been the worst because the fog has lifted. All the stuff you have to do you're in reality now, and you're in reality and everyone's moved on, kind of. And so to support someone in grief is, like, I have a friend that texts me every day, and that's wonderful. Texting someone a prayer, because some days I don't even know what to pray, and then someone will text me a prayer, and I'll just say that prayer. Or they'll text me a Bible verse. One of the worst things you can say, and I hated this even before my daughter passed, was hang in there. I can't stand that, because God doesn't say that to us. We're not
No, he
hanging.
doesn't. No.
My Bible verse is Isaiah 40, is it 42:10 or 43:10, where God is holding us with his righteous right hand.
Amen.
The Bible says over and over that God holds us.
Yes.
It doesn't say anywhere that we're hanging. And I had that before Annie passed. And so I've had so many cards come through that says, you're held, you're held, you're held.
Amen.
And so a friend that texts me every day, she ends it with, you're held in there, you're held in there. And so to look through and see where people have come out of the woodworks and realize God's holding me, God's holding me today. And so let someone know that they're held in there for more than just a few months after an event. If you can do something randomly for a few years.
Absolutely, because it's a loss. Like I said, you don't ever get over it, and you're still processing it, and you hurt at different depths on different days, and it comes in different waves. And most people will say that about grief, that it comes in waves, and thank God that it does, because if it was all just that big wave every day, right? But it comes in waves, and you're just dealing with it, and you're saying if people just step up and do something, it's not so helpful to say if you need anything, because you don't know what you need. And who's going to ask? Like, first, would you send me money to have somebody clean my house? Like, would you bring me dinner? No one's going to ask for that.
Ask. And it takes energy for me to think about it and energy to contact you, and I don't have it.
Yeah. I think that that's very helpful, because again, I do think most people are well-meaning. We just don't know what to do. You've been working on a project now, Sherry, grief cards.
Yes.
What are grief cards?
So we were coming up on the 1-year anniversary, as we call them. And so my boys are newlyweds, and I wanted to do something on the 1-year trip that was take time to talk about the year and reflect, but not make it another memorial service or make it too heavy. And boys, if you ask a boy how they're doing, fine.
Yeah, I'm good. That's what my son says all the time. I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah. Or
I'm good.
If you want to talk deep, it's hard. And as newlyweds, I didn't want to make it awkward for their brides, because this is new. It's hard to be newlywed and have your husband's sister pass away. That's hard. And so I have been keeping all of the questions that people have asked me that I really like. And I've been making a document of questions that have been really helpful and help with alleviating. And I thought, man, we have these tabletop questions for Thanksgiving and whatever. So I made a bunch of questions that we could ask in the evening while we sat around the table. And it was a hit. My boys loved it. We would just pull a card and ask a question, and it led to other questions, and it led to other things, and it made it kind of light but not so heavy. And the wives could pull a question, and my boys were like, "Can we have these?" And other people started saying, "Could we have those? Do we know?" Because not only as a family that's in grief, but as friends that wanted to support, that said, "Oh, I could have these cards before I called Sherry or Monica and ask one of these questions." So and then I have those. I'm making cards for I don't know what to say, grief questions.
Yeah. Can you give us some exampple of some great questions?
Yeah. So things like, what are some secrets you can tell now that are safe to tell? What are songs you listen to on a road trip? Or what is a song that reminds you of Annie? What are 3 characteristics of Annie that you hope to carry on in your life, or give to or talk about to your children? I don't know. There were several stories that you would share, or just I have like 100, but the first set of cards there's 50.
And it guides the conversation.
It guides the conversation.
Because again, like people don't. What can I say? What should I say? Don't want it to be a memorial service.
Favorite holidays, favorite recipes. Yeah.
And to remember fun things. And to honor those memories that we just treasure. Yeah. I think that would be very helpful for anybody's Thanksgiving table or Christmas.
Yeah, it's fun. And that's holiday questions, spiritual questions, story questions. And so I am in the middle of having those printed and hoping that they will be available on my website in the fall.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely wonderful, that people will want to do that. You mentioned you called it an anniversary. Yes. Do you do something special each year, and does that help? So
we'll be coming up on the 2nd year, and I'm excited. My one son lives in Atlanta with his wife, and my youngest son is moving out this way in a few weeks. So this will be the first time we're all out this way. So we'll be able to maybe get together on this second anniversary as well.
That's wonderful. I've heard a lot of people say that doing something to honor and just to pay tribute is very helpful, and just a way like for us to all talk about Annie or whoever that person is. When I think about, you know, whether it's people, Sherry, that I've interviewed or that I know that have lost a child, their face always perks up when you ask them about their child.
For sure.
Because it's like a release. It's like I get to talk about them. Like they're not here on this earth anymore, but I get to talk about them.
Yeah. Well, the biggest fear is that they're forgotten.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I can tell that Annie's not forgotten with all the things that you guys are doing, and just to pay tribute and to pay honor. What would you say to someone maybe who, maybe right now they just feel stuck in grief and everybody's moved on, but them?
Absolutely. That's a hard one. It's okay to bring up your child. And I think one of the ways to do it is ask someone about their child and just say, you know, oh, your daughter isn't, what is your daughter into this? Oh, you know, my daughter did that, or my daughter this, or same with the son. But, you know, but open the door by asking them about their kids, and then bring up yours.
That's a wonderful way to do it. And it shows people that, hey, it's okay to talk about Annie.
Yes.
Like we don't have to dance around this anymore.
Yeah.
It is okay, and that it makes you smile, and even if it makes you cry, you want to be able to talk about Annie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love the grief cards. I think that that would be good like for anybody's holiday table. And so I just want to thank you so much for coming today and for sharing.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, so good to talk with you.
Thanks for watching Bridges. Finding hope in today's life is not always easy. Bridges with Monica Schmelter is making it simple. You can now listen to podcast episodes on popular platforms like iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Life Audio, and more by searching for Monica Schmelter to find God's hope for your journey.
Life can be hard and days can be long. So if you're looking for hope for the journey, monicaschmelter.com is a great place to get started. On monicaschmelter.com, you'll find Monica's teachings on demand. And if you're looking to really grow your faith, you'll find online extras are available with every teaching. So don't wait another day. Get started now at monicaschmelter.com and you will find hope for the journey.
If you enjoy watching Bridges, you can join Monica on Facebook for all the extras. Just visit Facebook and search for Monica Schmelter TV. At Monica Schmelter TV, you'll get a look behind the scenes. You'll learn secrets from the studio, and you'll be among the first to know what's coming up next on Bridges. Best of all, you can connect with Monica for prayer and share what topics you'd most like to see on Bridges. Monica would love to connect with you.